Hello, welcome to the Hustle Behind Real Conversations. I'm your host, Carlos Villagomez, and this is episode 5. Today I have my beautiful wife, Kimberly, co-hosting with me. We're continuing our series of couples running business together. And this episode's very special to me because I had a front row seat to the unfolding of this story. Today we have our guests, Rocky and Andrea McDowell. They are the founders and owners of CrossFit AmRock. So let me move the camera that way and welcome.
Hi.
Thanks for being here, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here. So let's get rolling with this. Tell us a little bit about how AmRock started. Obviously, it was kind of a unexpected start, but tell us about
it. So I had started CrossFit in, was it 2015? Yeah, 2015. I started first. Rocky.
Could have even been before that. Might have been 2014.
Oh, it's 2014.
Yeah,
2014. And I started first. I needed something to. We were going to a Globo gym, doing things, but noticing like strength and that kind of thing was declining, and needed something that needed a routine. So I started. He wasn't on board with trying to go, so about a month later, I finally convinced him. So for a year and a half, we went to a couple different places. Both had closed, unfortunately. And so from that point, we were driving home, and we were in the middle of, like, we had this great community of people and friends, and we didn't have a home. Like, there was no home for us to go to. We had somewhere we were going, but it wasn't working. And I was on the way home from working out that Rocky's like, what if we just did this? And I looked at him, I'm like, what?
She thought I was just kidding. Like, she was like, are you serious? I was like, well, yeah, I think we're in a place that we could try to make something happen. But the other part is it's like we had all of these people that we wanted to keep together. And so giving them that opportunity, it just kind of clicked for me. And I was like, no, we've talked a lot of different ways that we could make this thing happen, but they all came across and they seemed like ways to ruin friendships and not be able to keep people together and let everybody have the fun that we were having. Doing CrossFit and being in a community. And so at that point, it was just like, well, all right, maybe we should just do what the original gyms that we were going to, the original CrossFit gyms, and just create our own. Obviously, there was a need for it because we had our community of people. So we knew that there was a market, but it was just, how do you do that?
But I remember, like, we were driving, like, I remember this so vividly because we were driving home and he brought this up, and I was like, we have full-time jobs. I travel. How are we going to have time for this?
it. Like, are you serious? Like, for real? Like,
Are you feeling okay? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what's going on? And then we reached out to a few close friends and said, hey, we're thinking of X and we're thinking of this, and they're like,
if we do this, are we crazy? Like, are we absolutely crazy? All the questions Andrea was asking me in the car ride home and going through in her mind. And so we actually reached out and had conversations with people.
And they're like, I think it'd be awesome. Mm-hmm. And we're like, okay, so if we dive in, we need everyone to dive in with us. Like, there's like a pack. Like, we need everyone because we can't do this by ourselves. Yeah. And they all bought in. Like, it was like this community of people come together. And it was a small community, but it was a community of people. And I think that's the beauty of CrossFit, is you build these relationships and friendships that are just going to be like forever.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like that was kind of that momentum. And I think that conversation was in May.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we started moving forward as quickly as possible. And I think in June we got licensing, but the biggest part is Rocky had to get a certification. He had to get his trainer certificate.
Yeah, I had to go get my level 1 CrossFit trainer, and And so that kind of everything hinged on that.
Pressure.
So yeah,
So to open a CrossFit gym, you can't just hire coaches. One of the owners has to be certified. Is that
Correct.
a requirement? Okay.
Yeah.
yeah. So your licensee of record, that person has to hold a CrossFit credential, and now you have to be a CrossFit level 2 trainer
Yeah.
in order to open an affiliate. So, but at that time it was just you had to have an L1, and so it was like we moved forward from May all the way through June, making plans of we're gonna open this gym. It's all gonna, but it all hinged. It was July 4th weekend when I went down to Utah and took my my course, and then at that time you took the test on Sunday, so it was Saturday, Sunday you did all your course, your class and everything. Of course, you studied ahead of time and all of that, but then you took your test on Sunday. And it was about 7 to 10 days before you got your results. And that was, we were sweating it the whole time because we had already gone down the road of we're investing in this thing. We're finding a location.
We already had the location.
We had
So you
a
were fully
realtor
committed.
that was helping us find a location. Funny how that works. And so, yeah, we were already way down this road without knowing that we would be able to actually open a CrossFit gym. Luckily, I
He passed.
passed the test, so I was certified. And then that let us move into all of the conversations with CrossFit about, okay, how do we do this? Picking a name, doing all of that stuff, getting all of the affiliation put together.
Which we were doing while in
While we were
Europe.
on a trip, yeah. On
So-
top of that, right? Andrea had a business trip.
I had
and
a
so-
business trip, and we had to get some general contracting done in the building. So we had to hire a general contractor, and they were doing all the work, and we would check in with them while we were traveling.
Yeah.
So we were doing all of this stuff because we were gone for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So we just didn't want to keep things on hold because we had to keep things moving forward.
So working everything remotely.
Yeah,
Just
on
okay.
top of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you kind of think about that journey, it was like end of 2014, Andrea started CrossFit. I started shortly after that. We did, and that was at our first gym. They relocated, so the gym closed. Second CrossFit we went to, we started there in May, and it was to the following May, almost exactly 1 year in that CrossFit community. And the owner was like, hey, I'm selling out and closing up. And so that was the beginning of May. By the end of May, we knew that the option we had chosen after he closed was not an option anymore. We had to do something different. And that's when we made the decision that we were going to do it then. And so then that was 2016. Decided we were going to look into opening in May, or, opening a gym.
Yep.
And we actually had our opening day in September 16th of 2016.
Wow.
So from like May
Quick.
to September was our time frame of opening a business. And we had to learn everything. Like,
Yeah.
how do you file with Secretary of State? Like, what does that even mean? Like, insurance and all of that stuff. Like, we worked for people that owned businesses. Yeah, we didn't run a business. And so there were all of those questions that we had to figure out on the fly. And we did it in June, July, August, September, like 4 months.
Yeah.
So that we could open our doors, going through city approvals, all of that stuff. And luckily we had friends and people that we knew that ran businesses that could give us advice along the way of, here are some things that that you guys need to get put together. But yeah, it was a bit of a whirlwind, which kind of is a theme for us. Like,
Yeah, I was going to say that you guys are both like very driven people. You know what you want and you get it. So,
Well, and this wasn't a plan. Like, this was not planned for us. Like, if you asked me, my 20-year-old self, like, what does your future look like? This was not part of that plan.
owner.
No,
No.
not at all. Business owner?
even
No.
a business owner,
Yeah.
not just running a CrossFit gym, but
And you both have very
business was not
really
that.
good established jobs or careers, I should
Yes.
say, not even jobs, but careers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think at that point, we were both into our careers, 15 years and established. I mean, Andrea was there longer because she started her career when before we graduated from college and everything. And so, like, yeah, we were in it. We were doing just get up, punch the clock, do the thing, grow that, and figure out how to get the next promotion, all of that stuff. And so entrepreneurship was not really on our radar as something we were doing until something just fell in our lap of like, oh man, we got to figure out how to keep our people together because we really like working out with these people.
Well, and just having that, I think going back to community, like having you just build these bonds with people that are just unique and special. And I think that was the biggest thing. It's like you want to hang out with them and you want to have that, I don't know, build those relationships and continue those relationships.
It's like the family that you choose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So. It's like a really good circle of friends that, you get to choose who those people are and who you want to hang out with and how much time you want to spend with them and all of that stuff. And it's grown over time. I mean, there are people that have been with us since we started, like Carlos. And it's like, so, we've been hanging out with these people for more than, 10 years now. And it's like, we will do things like go on their podcast or,
or go to Mexico.
Go on a trip together or go out to dinner or whatever it is. And so, it's a lot more than just the hour that, it's the tagline and all that stuff, but it's a lot more than the hour that you spend in the gym working out, doing things. It builds a lot more so that there's stuff outside of that is driven by the community, but also your health and fitness and being able to function.
And you can really feel that just being at AmRock. You can feel that community. Like everybody is just there to support each other, to motivate each other, and and have a good time too.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we set out for.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, in a lot of my travels, I went to different boxes and would go work out, and I didn't realize at the time I was learning because we didn't know about the business.
Right.
But I picked up on like, hey, these are things I really liked about what this particular place did. Oh, this place, they could use a little help in their customer service or how they, like I've been to a lot of places that the customer service wasn't great. And I think that's an important part of like when building a business, it's that first impression that you give to a customer, right? And I feel like in our place of business and in the specialty, there's some that do it really, really well, and there's some that could use some help and coaching. And I feel like in those travels, I learned a lot, not knowing that was going to be something that would come to fruition down the road.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of one of the things that I think is kind of an important part of running a business or being an entrepreneur is, take cues from other people in the industry, and you'll know like, ooh, this I think is a really good idea and I feel like it's going to work for my customer base, my people. And then there are other things that you look at and go, our people, they're not going to respond
we
to
don't
that.
Want to do that.
It's still probably a really good idea, but it's just not going to work for my community. And so I don't think it matters what business you're in, but you want to experience what other people do that's in your business, right? And then steal everything you can from them, ideas and forms and templates and what people are doing and go, man, I love that idea. Not so much that idea. So I'm going to take this and bring it into my business. And that's going to help me grow because I know I can deliver that thing at a high level and it's going to be successful for me. And so, through Andrea traveling all the time, I think it really helped us establish kind of what our core was going to be, how we wanted to present AmRock to Idaho Falls and East Idaho and say, this is who we are and what we do and continue to try to level up as we go along and make it something that people actually want to come and hang out and be there.
You mentioned that you learned from other boxes or other gyms.
Yeah.
To-dos and not to-dos, right? But also from other industries that you worked in, did you implement some of the things that you learned in other industries that you like, oh, this could totally be applied to this industry?
100%. I think even one of my very first jobs, and Rocky and I both worked there together, and I would say they had a big influence on customer service and learning how to connect with people and build relationships. So as customers would come into the business, you're always greeting them by their first name, like your regulars. You know, you're building that relationship with them. And once they realize, oh, you know my name, like you've leveled up that customer service, right? And just even having their order ready when they show up. I mean, there were just some things you learn. And I think I was in that job for 7 years and I learned so much. And that was back when I was 18, all through college is where I learned so much from them. Like I look at what we do and I think they were a solid foundation, and they're still a local business here.
You can name them. It's totally fine. Just so you
Well,
know.
and that's the funny thing is like if you look at Andrea and I as we grew up and had different jobs and all of that stuff, there's so many weird parallels.
Yeah.
Like we both worked for Albertsons at some point in our life, and so we both had that experience of, you know, working in
Getting the grocery carts in the
large
snow.
corporation,
Yeah.
but it's also like, there was some things that were like, okay, this is hard work and it sucks. I really don't want to go outside in November or, you know, February and grab all the carts and bring them inside. But that's the job. That's what you need to do. So you go out and do it. Yeah. And we both had that experience of, you know, the job that was like, crap, there's some things that aren't fun.
Yeah, grunt work.
That needs to be done.
And so start
you go
somewhere.
do it,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
And then Andrea got a job at Great Harvest in high school. And then she worked that all the way through college. I worked for them as well in college with John and Tiffany, the owners of the Great Harvest here in Idaho Falls, and they were such a huge influence on us for just the idea of how you take care of people.
And build a business that's very successful and taking risks. Like
exactly.
there's a lot of risks, and you look at it, they just celebrated 30 years.
Yeah, we
pretty
love that
amazing.
place.
Yeah. And I mean, we still have a great relationship with them. Every Christmas he didn't this year, but we go in and stop in and say hi, because it's like a little family reunion every year. But I would say they were a big foundation.
Yeah.
And then even with my career at Melaleuca, there's been a lot of leadership and people that I've learned and been able to mentor, and just learn some things about best business practices or just leadership in general, I think, too. And being able to lead teams myself, I think those were some big things that I would say we took away.
Yeah. I mean, just lots of little tidbits and things that you can learn along the way of, you know, how you treat customers and, you know, new people walking in the door. How do you make them feel seen and part of your community from the get-go? Because anybody who has the courage, I mean, especially in our business, anybody that has the courage to walk through the door, they've already done something amazing.
Yeah.
And so we make it a point to recognize that and try to make them feel seen and understood and all of that is from the get-go. So it's like, I don't need you to come in and join CrossFit AmRock to for you to be a part of the family already. It's like the fact that you reached out to us, the fact that you came in and talked to us, that in itself is such a huge step for so many people that I'm going to applaud that, commend that. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
that's huge.
recognize, yes, exactly, that was probably a scary thing. And so then how do I celebrate just that win for yourself by bringing you into what we do from the moment you walk through the door? And so there have been several people that have come in and I'm like, hey, you're new to the area. What do you need? Do you need a realtor? I mean, do you need a dentist? Do you need whatever it is?
Yeah.
Like, I can point you in the right direction for all of these things. And some of those people have come in and they're part of our community at the gym, and other people are like, yeah, we ended up doing something else, but I love your dentist, or your realtor really helped me out, right? And all of that stuff. And it's part of just supporting this community, the larger community of Idaho Falls and East Idaho, while we're building our community within AmRock. And we learned a lot of that from those early positions that we had of, it's not always about, satisfying ourselves, but it's about helping people. And I think that's where we're at.
Like that. That's pretty sweet. We were talking about the fact that you guys had full-time jobs when you started this, right? Mm-hmm. So tell me, how did you manage that? I guess because that had to be
Did we manage
something
that?
challenging. As best as you could, of course, right? But
I mean, it was hard. It was not easy. I feel that for me personally, it was like finding those windows. Because if you want something bad enough, you'll do it. Like if you want the business to succeed, you don't want to let down your customers or your members or those clients. Like you're going to do everything you can. You're going to pour your heart into it. And I feel it's like finding, hey, I work a 12-hour day. Well, I still have a couple hours of this I've got to get done to support the customers. And it was a lot of, I would say, early mornings, late nights, weekends. Like it was the grind. It's putting in that work ethic and that grind for me personally, that because I still had a full-time job to manage and to take care of and people there, because that was my responsibility. And then it's, okay, I'm going to fill in this other time with these things, because I think the motivation was just seeing the success of people hitting milestones or doing something that they've never done before. And so there's like this underlying internal motivation of seeing the success of your members. But yes, there was that full time, but it wasn't without sacrifice. There's a lot of things we sacrificed and gave up.
Yeah.
But it was because we wanted to pour our heart into that business, into AmRock.
Yeah. And I think, it's still hard, because I'm still working full time. Up until a couple of years ago, Andrea was still working full time. And so, it hasn't been just the start of getting this thing going where we were trying to juggle all of that stuff and manage everything. We're still dealing with it now of like, oh my gosh. And, it's still a 40, 50-hour work week over here. And then it's all of everything that's going on at AmRock. And, Andrea's putting in similar times that she was putting in when she was working full time. It's just now most of that is dedicated to what's going on at AmRock. And so, it's still a juggling act. There's still a lot of things going on, and we're doing things on the weekends. We're doing things late at night, just to keep things going. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it for sure.
I do think though, like sometimes I look at it now, if I were to reflect back, it's a little bit of a short-term sacrifice. And yeah, it's 10 years. I still think that's short-term for how long our business and where we're going to go. Mm-hmm. And I look at it, and we had to put a short-term sacrifice to make that happen. I think that's, as a business owner, you have to be willing to do that. And I think if we look at some of the hard stuff, that's a hard thing to be like, well, I'm giving up my weekends, I'm giving these things up. But it doesn't mean you have to give up everything. Doesn't mean you can't have a vacation or you can't do, it's just you have to sacrifice something.
Yeah. No overnight success. There's a lot of after hours, but after your regular job where you go in there and spend a lot of time, right? And I think that's very important to share with people that are trying to build something, that it's not easy. It's just not.
Nope.
Right? And if you're committed to it, you're going to put the time, the sweat, and the tears, and you're just going to grind and just
put the head down. And okay, what needs? And I think even when we first were working on opening, I mean, it was a grind. I mean, there were a lot of things that you think, oh, this is going to take me 30 minutes, and it takes you 4 hours.
I can relate to that.
But then it's like, okay, then the other timelines and other things. So then it's like, how do you build that in? And it's also just staying focused on what's the most important and focusing on making hey, this is really urgent and important and must get done versus this is a nice thing to do. It would add benefit, but these are the things that need to be done to make the business function, and that's where your priorities go. Then if you can work on some of these other nice to haves, that might come later. So how do you build things in a way that you have the most important, you're taking care of your customers, like what are those values, and identifying those values early to kind of set your business up for success in the long term.
But I think it's very important there too that you've managed to not forget about yourselves and your personal time, and you know, like carve a little niche on the side for the things that you want to do, right? And that you need to do to just keep your sanity.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's financial investment, there's time investment, there's lots of things that go into it, emotional investment and everything. And I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's all worth it. But there's a lot that goes into trying to make this thing happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It all happens behind the scenes. People don't notice it, which is kind of some of the beauty of running a business and creating an atmosphere that people come in and they're like, oh, everything runs so smooth and there's never anything bad happening, and there's never. And
While you're in the back going like,
Andrea and I are in the middle of like mass chaos and everything's like crazy and all that stuff. But it's.
But a lot of people come to the gym to release their own stress.
Exactly.
So
So let's not make it a place where we get to add
Right.
more
Yeah.
stress to them. This is still the fun spot that they get to go and relax and let out their own aggression and all of that stuff. And
definitely.
and so that I think is tricky. And I think it's tricky as a couple to deal with a lot of that stuff where you do have extra stresses that are happening, and you're still trying to create that environment where our stress is not now everybody else's stress, right? Because, like you're saying, the coming in and doing your workout and all that stuff it's a way to de-stress. It is the happy place. It's the third place that you spend all of your time, right? It's home, work. Our third place, we want to be the gym, not Starbucks. It should be, come to AmRock. This is the third place. And then your fourth place can be ZZ Coffee or, things like that. But, and so as we're trying to create that third spot that people are going to come and be part of, it needs to be a third spot that people want to go to. And part of that is saying, well, a lot of the chaos of running a business, that's our chaos. It's not our members' chaos. And so we make sure that there's still that experience for them every time they come. And we deal with all the other stuff so that they don't have to. They don't even know what's going on half the time. Not shady or anything like that, but just because it's not the customer experience that we're trying to provide to people. We want to make sure this is what we're trying to do with our business, and this is what we want people to experience when they walk in the door. And so that's what we're providing for them. That's part of what it is.
Yeah.
Well, so we're talking running a business while dealing with your jobs, right? That's one challenge.
Yeah.
In trying to create that experience for your clients or your community. What are other challenges that you have experienced for the last 10 years? I mean, I'm sure there's so many, but if you can bring up some of like your, I shouldn't say favorite ones, but the most memorable or difficult ones that you can remember that you would like to share.
I think, honestly, the most recent one was probably the largest challenge we've overcome this last year
Yeah.
between having some personal, having my dad, and kind of being that caretaker for him, and then managing a full-time job plus a full-time business. Like, there was a point where I had to make a choice. Because doing all three, I'd sleep 3 hours a night. Well, that's not going to work long term.
Yeah.
It's not healthy. And making that choice was not easy. Like, it was a hard choice. Stepping back from a career I built and just going more part-time there, and now working full-time in the gym. But then my dad was a full-time in helping my mom.
Yeah.
Like, that was, and, when he passed away, we had another incident where we unexpectedly had to move and uproot our entire business in less than 30 days.
Yeah. Just talking about challenges. It's
yeah.
That was something.
And that was a
by the
big
way.
surprise. Like, it was not something we expected.
Yeah.
But you made it happen. It's so admirable. I like, and while keeping so level-headed. I just don't know how you do it.
Well, if
honestly.
anybody could do it, it was going to be
Yeah.
you too.
And I mean, and it's one of those things where you're looking at it and you're going along as far as just life and business and everything. That's, you're like, okay, we're in a good spot. This is all taken care of.
Comfortable.
We have these
Yeah.
systems that are
comfortable.
starting to really take root, and we don't have to stress and worry about a whole bunch of things. And then, of course, it's Murphy's Law and life and everything. And it's just like, no, we're gonna blow all that up because it's just too comfortable. And that's kind of the way it felt like that happened, because it really was out of the blue. There were some things that we really, really learned there about, leases and keeping things up as far as that goes, what our future needs are as far as contracts and all of that, so that we have some sort of, legal standing for things like that to avoid in the future. Would have been nice if we didn't have to go through this to learn that. However, unfortunately, we got ourselves in a situation where the landlord could just look at us and go, "You're out," and so we learned a big lesson there. And so, yeah, holding it all together, everything we had to do, and I mean, when we started this thing, it was 4 months of trying to establish a building, find a location, move in, get everything set up and ready to go. So we already had done that on a pretty short timeline, if you really look at it, grand scheme of things, opening a business. And so we just accelerated that timeline again of closing this down, moving everything, getting into the new place, getting everything set up and running. And to do that in, it was actually probably about 6 weeks from when we were told you're out as far as our lease goes, to when we were in the building and actually able to do stuff. And I think one of the biggest things for us was just leaning on the relationships that we had to get people to help us. People in our community that work out with us that are part of AmRock, they jumped in and helped out a lot. Relationships that we had with other businesses that were able to come in and help out. Our general contractor, having a realtor to help us, find a location and get us into places to look at things. We had one of our members who came and helped paint the entire gym for us, because that's part of what they do on their, as a business. And so I think that was it, as well as leaning on people and having that ability to lean on the community and get help to make this happen was huge for
And I
us.
think that's another lesson, is being humble and asking for help, because you can't do it all yourself. You think you can, but being able to be vulnerable and asking people, "Hey, I need help in this," or "Does anyone have this kind of specialty?" or does someone within our community know someone that does X? Like, being willing to ask those questions, because sometimes you don't know those resources. and those resources that are at your fingertips that you may not know. Like I learned so much about people that do electrical work and that do plumbing and that do, like, I was like, I had no idea you did those things. Like, and it was great because then you can utilize those resources, but then supporting even small businesses or other hobbies that people love, you're able to do that from a localized standpoint. And I think that was something this time that was different than the first time. Because the first time, we had people, but I don't think we knew as many people. And now
But it goes back to that community thing, right?
Yes.
Your community grew so much.
Yes.
So now you had all these resources at your disposal.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're back in case anybody was wondering. We had to go let the dogs out because they were
Mad.
and whining in the background. So hopefully you might hear that or not. Anyways, so we were talking about challenges. You were sharing with us about your most recent challenge, which was having to pick up your entire operation and find a different location and move within, what was it, 30 days?
30 days.
60
Less
days?
than 30 days.
Less than 30 days.
Crazy.
So it was quite the challenge, and we were there to witness that, and it was quite amazing what
The
once again,
community.
Yeah.
They
the
all
community did.
the community.
literally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's more than that too, because Andrea alluded to it as well. Like we were dealing with things personally as well, that you couldn't just say, no, I'm not going to deal with that today. And I mean, it was we're dealing with her father getting close to the end of life, helping her parents through all of that, family, everything, and then we had this other thing going on with our whole gym community that we had make commitments that we made to them too. Of we can't just say, well, never mind, everybody, go. No, we decided we were going to do this thing. So how do we continue to keep all this stuff together while we're managing everything that's going on with our personal life, with her family, and everything that's happening? And still keep the business going, because I mean that's part of it as well.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, the community aspect is we feel like we've made a commitment to these people to keep this community going and keep it together. And so,
And I think another thing through that whole process is just being honest with people.
Yeah.
I mean, I think being truthful and being able to share, like, hey, we're just going to lay it all out in front of you guys. Here's what's happening. And it wasn't a thing of like, we're hiding. We need your help, and here's why.
Yeah.
And I think the decision that we made we essentially did a town hall. And I think that also created buy-in from people of, hey, yeah, we're here to support you. It's just like when we first opened, we reached out to people and said, hey, this is what we're doing. Yeah. And we had the support. So we reached out again and said, hey, this is what's happening. And we're not going to worry about the past. We've got to move forward. And this is how we need to move forward. But here are things that we have going on personally as well. So we need everyone's help. Yeah. And I think that was a blessing to kind of see the amount of people that came and helped us was unreal. I remember the first moving day, and we had over 60 people. And I don't know how many trailers. I do not know how many trucks. I thought this is going to be a whole day. And we were done in 2 hours.
I remember. It was insane how fast it was. I just couldn't believe how fast that place got packed up.
Yeah.
It was,
but even on the second, like the last day that we had to be out, we kind of staged things in a way so we could keep the business running. And I think that's another lesson is how do you prepare in something like that of, okay, you got to stage stuff because you don't want to discontinue service. Because we had people say, well, why don't you just shut down for a few weeks? I'm like, no, because you guys need,
I remember that. You were like relentless. There's no way we're shutting down. We have to make this
Outdoor
transition
workouts
from
and-
one day to the next. And service doesn't stop. We do not shut down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're crazy.
exactly.
But it worked.
It worked.
And I think that's part of it too. I mean, a lot of it comes into the industry that you're in, But it's like for us, this is a daily thing for people of, having that place that they get to go and see their friends and, de-stress and do all of that. And if you stop providing that for a couple of weeks, like that's difficult to get
Takes a toll on your
that
people.
back. Yeah. Our people are like, man, either one, they really missed it, or they're completely out of the routine now. And it's really hard for them to get back into it.
That's true.
And so, so that's difficult on the community that you have, but it's also difficult on the business. And so being able to look at it and go, all right, we are going to figure a way to make this transition as seamless as possible while everybody knows that this transition is coming. So because we were open and communicated and all of that stuff, they knew some chaos was coming, that it was gonna look different, but they also knew that we were going to take care of them throughout this whole process as well.
Yeah. And I think we did weekly updates, and we did them via video. So it wasn't just an email that went out, because half the time people don't read their email, but it's like, how can you communicate effectively? And there would be some things we would do fun in the video to maybe bring some laughter and some things to the video, so it wasn't always like business.
Yeah.
But just having that open communication and ongoing communication, so people knew where things were at, so they kind of understood, like, hey, they are making progress, or hey, there's been this little hiccup, because there's going to be things out of our control. Like we had to go back through and do permitting, and we had to go back through all these things with the city, and we had some hiccups along the way. So we could have opened a little bit earlier, but we had hiccups, and you've got to plan for those hiccups, and then you got to pivot. And then how do you pivot and make different decisions? So it's also that thought of like, how can I still keep my business moving? But most people don't know all of that was happening behind the scenes, because we just kept the business moving forward.
Yeah.
Trying to line everything up.
Yeah. And I think we learned a lot of that. Another challenge that we had was COVID. COVID was a big challenge.
Yeah.
And
Especially, in the fitness industry,
It's a place of gathering.
Yeah.
So just how do you get around that and make sure that everybody
But
still...
if I look at like what happened this last year, that situation prepared us for what happened.
Yeah,
Just
that's
recently.
the silver lining that came out of COVID is we kind of knew how to deal with not having a physical location to run our business out of, which is very hard in the fitness industry, because it's like, no, there is a spot that you show up, and that's where you do it. And so...
But I think there's an advantage to being a CrossFit gym and the type of exercise that you do at CrossFit versus a regular gym.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you're just pretty much using equipment all the time, or 90% of your workout is
Yes.
equipment, versus CrossFit, you could do
body weight,
endurance and cardio, so many things without
or you
having
could
the
get
equipment,
a
right?
pound of, or not pound, but a 40-pound bag of dog food, or you could, you
Fill
could
up
load
a
up a backpack.
Yeah.
There's other ways you can be functional.
Yeah.
And utilize and getting creative of like, okay, how do I do this if I need to?
And I got in CrossFit during COVID, and I will give it to you guys. You guys definitely think out of the box for like how to like keep the community together. And I thought that was really cool that you guys we did videos. You let us take the equipment home.
Yeah.
We had our rowing machine in our in our living room.
Yep.
Like,
Well, and
we
everybody
made it
was sharing
happen,
videos.
though. Yeah.
And there were challenges, and we're making it fun.
It was
and entertaining for people that were cooped up at home, and they,
Yeah, and that's where the community, going back again, it goes back to the community of like we tried to, we're fortunate that you kind of East Coast and West Coast had these, and Idaho's one of the last ones that we had to quarantine or shut down. And so we were fortunate because we had time. So you kind of look at like, hey, this is what's happening. Okay, we got to get prepared.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Right.
It
And
was only a matter of time.
yeah, and I think we had time to plan. In our other situation that happened last year, we didn't have time to plan.
Right.
But I think because there were some things that we learned along the way of,
Yeah.
hey, how do we make this situation the best situation possible, even though it's not ideal?
It was fun. You guys made it fun.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, going back and looking at, you know, yeah, there are a ton of ways or places that people can go and exercise and do things. There's tons of gyms around the area and all that stuff. But one of the biggest differentiators is between like a CrossFit gym and a regular one is that those places sell access to their stuff, right? And that's what your membership pays for is you're coming in and there's a treadmill over there and there's a stack of, you know, weight plates and exercise, you know, machines and all of that stuff. And that's what you're doing. Is you're just gaining access to that equipment, right? But for us, it's like you're coming in and you're paying for coaching. You're paying for programming and ideas and how do I make this fun and how do I keep this thing going. So when something like COVID comes around, it's like we have the ability to pivot and do things differently that the other places who are like just providing a place and providing equipment, well, that's the business model and that's all they do. And
You guys
so
provide value.
exactly. So we have a higher value as to what we offer people. And in an emergency or in chaos, or you're going to go travel and go on vacation or something like that, we have the ability to say, okay, here, take what we do with you. Here are some travel workouts you can do because we all kind of have an idea of what's in a hotel fitness center and all of that stuff. So we go, all right, you're going to be on travel. Here's a bunch of workouts that you can do. Right. And we can do that for our people. The other types of gyms that are out there, you know, are they going to provide you with workouts as you go and go somewhere else or go on vacation?
Yeah.
Are they going to support you through that? No, because you're not there using that treadmill, which is what you're getting.
Yeah,
at
it's
other
just the
gyms.
access.
Yeah. And so I think that is kind of the big thing, you know, the big differentiator between what we do as a CrossFit facility and CrossFit affiliate as opposed to some of the other franchise, you know, gyms that are out there. And that has served us really well. It's really helped us to kind of weather some of these storms.
Yeah.
So
To me, the programming is huge because I got so much, excuse my French, shit going on in my life on the daily basis with other business and other stuff that I know that I get there and they just tell me what to do and I
Right.
follow the program.
Yeah.
I work my butt off,
I love
sweating, you know, and then you know that you put the work in, well, and because it's program, you're working different things, different muscles, different areas of your body all the time, right?
Yeah.
And so, and if we're traveling and we're on vacation, I'm still looking at the app. I'm like, what are they doing today? And then I go down to the gym and I'm like, I can use this, and that, right?
Yeah.
And I can, you know, obviously I could change it up a little bit, but it already helps me so much, even when I'm traveling, because it's like, well, I'm just going to adjust it a little bit,
Yeah.
but it already gives me a map
Yeah.
of something. And I think that's great. So with that said, you know, people think CrossFit and it's like, you're just going to go in there and you got to lift all this weight and you're just going to go crazy and you're going to do all this stuff. And then we go back to community and programming and all this stuff together because you guys do something very different. I don't, you know, I can't compare it to other CrossFit gyms because I haven't been there, but I know that you guys really focus on movement, form, rather than so much weight, and then different age classes too, right?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that because I think that's
And
very important for people
nutrition.
to know. Yeah, and nutrition. Yes.
Yeah. I think, you know, that's evolved over time.
Yeah.
Like when we first started, it was CrossFit. And I think that was kind of going back to when we talked about challenges. That's still a challenge for us is that the term CrossFit is, has
there's a connotation.
yes.
Like you say, yeah, I do CrossFit, and the first thing that somebody that doesn't do CrossFit says is like, oh my gosh, that's so hard. It's hardcore. You guys are crazy. That sort of stuff.
But like how I try to break it down to someone is I said, well, how many times do you sit in a chair? How many times do you get in and out of a car? Let them answer. Okay, did you know that's a squat? How many times are you carrying groceries from your house or from your car to the house, or out of the grocery store. Well, that's a pharma carry. How many times are you grabbing something out of the cupboard? Okay, well, we need shoulder strength, and that's a press. How many times are you picking something up off the floor? That's a deadlift. So there's functionality. Or if you're picking up a bag of dog food, that's a clean,
Yeah.
right? So it's helping people realize, like, you're already doing some of those movements. It's just how do we put it into function, into what you do in your life? And I think we've evolved in that. And I would say even when we started, I mean, safety and movement and not loading the bar or doing things super heavy until you're ready. We want the form and the technique because we want you to be safe. And then as people, like, say they go out and they injure themselves rock climbing, or they injure themselves out doing some other activity. It
Carrying
happens.
a washing machine.
Yeah, carrying a washing machine.
Blow a bicep out carrying a washing machine.
I mean, things happen in life, right? But
Yeah.
we can still take that thing and help the person still move in different ways. So we just get creative in what that looks like. And I think CrossFit, what people see is, there's these big muscles and people that do these heavy things. And the CrossFit games and that kind of stuff, that's like the Olympics. I mean,
They're just elite athletes,
They're-
right?
exactly.
They're just
So you
incredible
got-
people with
I mean,
very specific
yes.
I mean,
genetics too, I think.
you can go up to Targhee and you can spend all the day on a ski hill, on a pair of skis or snowboard or stuff like that, and it's still not what those people are doing in the Olympics.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's the same thing. It's like, yeah, if you look at the CrossFit Games, it's like those are Olympic level athletes that are doing really cool things. And what we do daily at AmRock, it's like you going up on the weekend and going skiing. I mean, you're not skiing at Olympic level, you're skiing at your level. And that's what we try to bring into, the facility is, how do we take those cool things and the stuff that these high level professional athletes do, but allow you to do them on your level where you're at, teach you how to do things, and you get super fit by doing it.
Well, and then
that's-
every person has a different why. And it's understanding from that customer, like, why are they wanting to make this change? And that's kind of where we realized, like, nutrition there was a gap.
Yeah.
Because people needed help. Because if you think about CrossFit, the base of the pyramid is nutrition. And if our nutrition, like, you can't out exercise a bad diet. And so if we don't fix the foundation of nutrition and how we eat and fuel our body, you can come in and exercise all you want, but if we don't fix that, then we may not see the results that you want to see. And so that's where we started nutrition coaching, and how that kind of came to life. And so over the 10 years, we've found opportunities of how can we help people with their lifestyle and having that lifestyle transformation. Or, hey, I want to be able to walk up the stairs and not be out of breath. Or, hey, I have a competition and I want to be able to go do X competition. So there's so many different levels of individuals and different goals and different aspirations. And I think that's one thing that over time we've listened to, like, hey, what do they want to achieve? Like, what's at their core? And helping them get to that, whether it's, I want to first pull up, or I want to be able to pick up my kids or be able to run around with my grandkids. And we have our classics class, which it's so fun because it's specialized for those that are more 55 and more experienced in life. But the functionality of it is balance, coordination. How do I get off the ground if I fall? How do I help carry my groceries or a milk jug? Like, some of those foundational things that we need as we get older.
And those guys are so dedicated.
They
show
are
up every
every
class.
class.
And they're
Yeah.
all so fun.
Yes.
They're so much fun. The best.
And I think that was one of the things we looked at when we started this thing from the beginning is that we wanted to build something that wasn't just for in your 20s and 40s. It was, no, this is a lifelong thing that everybody needs. Independence, functionality. We need the strength to be able to be living on our own for as long as humanly possible, right? And so, like, the first class that we added that wasn't just a traditional straight CrossFit class was our Classics class. We started that class within a year of, actually, it was like
6 months.
6 months of opening our doors. It was like, okay, we've got all of the regular people taken care of. How do we start taking care of our aging population and continuing to give them the ability to have dignity and freedom as we age?
Well, and I think that's where, like, from a business owner perspective, like, looking for those opportunities and being open and sometimes taking risks and
doing something completely different, because I don't
Yes.
think all their gyms or places really focus on that, right?
Well, you look at it and, like, the nursing homes and things like that, and some of the other gyms, they have their old people class, and you go in and look at it, and it's people sitting in chairs, like, kicking their feet and doing, and it's like, okay, is that actually helping anybody?
Right.
Are they actually improving their quality of life? Yes, they're exercising, but there's no challenge in it. And that was one of the things we set out to do with our class, was like, look, these people are, they're 55 and older, but that doesn't mean they can't still do a lot of stuff. So why do we treat them like they're incapable?
yeah.
So let's take a different tactic. Let's actually look at these people as, like, fully capable, functioning adults, and challenge them to do things that are hard. And they've, that whole class has responded. And as everybody ages and things change, they've had to adjust where they're at in the workouts and what the challenge actually is. But the beauty of CrossFit and the way that we deliver it is that we can make those adjustments for those athletes. And, and then we've made the adjustments in our business too, of, hey, this is what people need. So we're going to take the risk and invest in these things so that we can offer nutrition coaching and know where our lane is in that whole world. We're going to learn about how a physical therapist does stuff so that we can complement what you're doing at your physical therapist after a surgery or an injury or anything like that. So that we can work alongside of these other industries that are vital to what we do, but we become also a support for those businesses. And I think it's just things like that, of being able to watch and see what are the things that our clientele need, and being willing to go, okay, how can we support that? Not replace it, but support it within the walls of AmRock. And that's kind of the next phase of where we're going with the whole business, is creating essentially a health home that you go to that has
A one-stop shop
for everything that involves your health, and having a network that we can refer people to when we know, all right, this now has crossed a line and it's into a different scope. So here is people that I recommend you go to. And they can just go and start talking to those people about how they move things forward. But how much can we do at AmRock to support what you're doing from a nutrition side and all that stuff, and also from a fitness and rehab and those sorts of things.
So with that said, you guys have implemented yoga, right? And you have a few physical therapists that you partner with as well, right? And you are a nutritionist? Or
Nutrition coach.
Nutrition coach,
Yes.
sorry.
There's a line there for
there's
sure.
a line
So
there.
that's why I wanted to make sure you correct me
Yeah.
on that. But you're a nutrition coach as
Yeah.
well, right? So you guys are emphasizing on that quite a bit as well.
Yeah.
To help people make sure that they have the right diet, know so much just showing up to work out, but also they're looking at their diet and what they're putting in their body.
Yeah, and it's even more like the type of nutrition coaching we do is more of a holistic, of like we look at the whole pie. So we're looking at not just what you eat, but hydration, exercise routine, or even lifestyle routine, sleep, stress.
Why are you looking at me like
You just happen to be across.
Yeah, or just across from me. But like, it's more than just what you eat. It's because we might talk with someone that's dealing with, hey, they're not sleeping enough. They're not eating enough food. I mean, there could be a lot of things. And then it's working that habit one step at a time and helping them create a new habit, because we all have habits that we've created over time. But how do we create a healthier habit?
replace the bad ones with the good ones, right?
Yes. Yeah. So I hope when everyone wakes up in the morning, they brush their teeth. Or if they get in their car, they're putting on their seatbelt. Like those are habits that we've all created. So how do we do that same philosophy as we're dealing with nutrition in that holistic approach? And so then, CrossFit kind of and fitness become a part of that. But now we can kind of work on even mindset delivery. And sometimes food relationships, those are real. Like the amount of emotional eating or stress eating or whatever that, like there's a lot there that dealing with how do you overcome the mindset for someone so that they can learn how to eat healthier. So sometimes we might have to work on this first before we work on the food.
Yeah.
And so it's just trying to navigate people through that life and creating, like, I love when we say we're doing lifestyle intervention, like we're trying to improve your lifestyle. But then we've created healthcare partnerships so we got Wellberry Health, that we have a great partnership with Dr. Ryan Bradbury, who is a very different primary care doctor because he's more of a concierge style, which means he doesn't take insurance, but you set up he has an amazing business platform of what he's done, and it's new and it's innovated. And new when I say like in our area.
Yeah.
East Coast, West, like in bigger cities, it's very common. But we also have created a health share program for someone that might not have insurance or maybe is tired of the insurance and how things are evolving in our economy. We have options for people. So we're trying to build this bigger, as Rocky mentioned earlier, like this health home, health hub where we have relationships and we have partnerships and we even have local businesses that we do stuff with too. So as a member, like we've created, hey, you want to go over and have a healthy lunch, Mahana Fresh, we have a partnership with them. So we've done some things to try to create an environment where people have access and provide that value.
Kind of facilitate that so that way you help them get there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I would say, like, as a business owner over time, this wasn't something that we started with in our first year or 2 years. No. But I will say we had a vision probably about our third to fourth year. Where do we want to take this? How do we want to grow AmRock? What do we feel Idaho Falls or East Idaho needs? And it's really interesting when you look around and you're like, we can help a lot of people. One, they have to be willing and they have to want it, right? Yeah. But there's ways that we can do that. And then kind of creating that, what does that plan look like? And building your team behind that mission and those values. And I think that's another thing from a business standpoint of finding the right people on the bus and having the right people in the bus to help you drive that. Because we've been blessed to have such awesome people that, like, our crew is, we love them and all of them. And we just have people that are bought into that.
Yeah.
And they all work, most of them work full-time jobs. They do this part-time because they want to help other people. They want to follow that same mission. And so I think if you personally are, hey, this is the solid foundation for us. You have people that are bought into that. That just makes you project that even more to your community, not just inside your business, but also, hey, how do we represent things from the outside?
Yeah.
You guys
I
have
had
done
a
a
thought
great
there.
job of that, though. Like what you said about driving the bus with everybody, and you attract your tribe. And you guys have definitely, you're great people, and you
Thank you.
got good people behind
You
you.
attract it and you maintain it too,
Yeah.
which is important, which is always a challenge, right? When
Well-
you're running a business, but it comes down to that
Yeah.
community thing, right? Again, if everybody's feeling at home and they're comfortable and encouraged when they go to the gym,
Yeah.
it just makes all the difference in the world, right? Rather than
Yeah.
walking into a place where they're intimidated or feeling
Yep.
uncomfortable or, just.
Yeah.
And to me, that's my favorite thing about the gym, regardless of anybody's level or age. The one constant thing that you see there is people are encouraging each other. And
Yeah.
they're pushing each other in a very healthy way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
And-
just the camaraderie and just.
Yeah, there's just normal people like you and I. There's really good athletes. There's not so good athletes like myself.
Oh no, but I mean, it's
Yeah,
just
but
you have
just
people that are really
different-
strong and very advanced, and that are
Yes.
amazing athletes. That you're like, wow, I can't
And-
believe he just did that, right?
Yeah, and their goals
then-
are very,
Very different.
focused on that road versus someone like Kim might be focused on, I just want to be functional. I just want to be
move my body
move
and,
my body.
and
Yeah.
gain some strength on the way.
Yep.
Yeah.
And maybe talk about scaling so that there's options for everybody
Yeah.
at the gym.
Yeah, so the needs of the Olympic athlete and your grandparents differ by degree, not by kind. So what does that really mean? It's the ability to squat, the ability to walk, run, whatever it is. Walking and running are the exact same thing. It's the degree that you're doing it that is different. So everybody needs to be able to move their body from one place to another. Your Olympic athlete is doing that running as fast as they possibly can. Your grandpa is doing it with a walker and just trying to make it there. So the needs don't change of what we need to do. We need to be able to get up and down out of a chair. But your Olympic powerlifters are doing that with, 400 pounds on a bar, as opposed to just how the heck do I get my body out of this chair? And so that idea of what we do through CrossFit is we are varying the degree that people approach different exercises or life in general, but the needs that people have, they don't change. And so we don't dumb it down to the point where it's like, okay, yeah, you no longer need to squat past parallel because you're old. And it's like, well, no, we want to maintain as much function as you can, because that allows you to continue to get out of the car, continue to get off the toilet, continue to do all of the things that you need to do to be independent and live on your own. And we do that, but we also might have some people that want to be a high level athlete. And so that's where it's like, okay, you're going to add more weight to what you're doing. And so depending on it, like Andrea was saying before or alluding to, it depends on what that person's goals are and what their needs are to have a good, healthy, active, fun life. That's where we're going to meet you. And so any workout that we have, we can tailor it essentially to what that person's needs are and what their hope and dreams and desires are for their lifestyle. And so I don't expect somebody that comes in and walks off the street and says, look, all I'm trying to do here is make it so that I can go and spend more than 5 minutes running around with my kids in the yard, because in 5 minutes I'm so tired I got to go sit down. I'd rather play with them for an hour or two. Great. I don't bring you in the gym and go, all right, throw 400 pounds on the bar and let's go. Like, that doesn't make any sense for that person. So we're going to meet you where you're at and say, all right, what is your ability today? And we're going to incrementally increase that difficulty so that you get a little bit better as we go on. And then a little bit better and a little bit better. And pretty soon, the person that walked in the door and the person that you are a year later, 6 months later, 10 years later, that person is completely different from a fitness and ability level. And that's the idea of what we're trying to do. And with scaling and all of that is we make those adjustments daily for everybody that walks in the gym. And it doesn't matter if you're dealing with an injury. It doesn't matter if you're dealing with something that just feels a little off, or you're dealing with, hey, I haven't worked out for 10 years or ever. How do I even start this thing? We can make those adjustments and we do it all the time. That's the beauty of having a coach. That's the beauty of CrossFit and having it be infinitely scalable, is there's always somewhere that we can meet you on your level and take you from there and build you into a better athlete. That's it.
Well, it makes a lot of difference. I think it is. And I see what you say, you meet me or at where I'm at or somebody is at, right?
Yeah.
I think just to share what were we talking about? We were saying my goals are different now that they were when I started.
Right.
Right? I feel like now is just more about staying in shape, making sure that I can move. Longevity.
Yep.
And I'm focusing so much more in mobility, form, rather than weight. And for a few reasons. I mean, obviously, the lighter I am, the better I'm on a mountain bike.
Right.
But at the same time, just because I've had a few injuries and I'm like, well, you know what? I'm pretty happy where I'm at here. And I just, rather scale and keep moving slowly on the weight part, right? On how much weight I'm lifting versus whether I'm actually doing the movements right and the reps and the cardio and that sort of thing.
Yep.
And for somebody, like some of our friends may be completely different and they're really focused on getting stronger and faster and just
maybe competing at something.
Competing,
We
yeah.
have quite
Yeah.
a few people that like their goal this year is to compete at a high level competition.
Yeah.
And I love it. Like
Yeah.
the energy that they bring is so different than what you bring and then what Pam brings or what Vicky brings. Like there's so many different levels and I think that's the beauty of it. And you just see that it's just cool.
Yeah.
Well, and from somebody sitting on the sidelines to see their progression, it's pretty amazing to see what they were able to do, and then you see them, in a year later, and what they're able to do, and you're like, wow, it's inspiring too because that. Yeah.
Well, and I think sorry.
No, you're good.
I think it was 2 days ago. So we have a new member. She was terrified to come in, and we sat down. I sat down with her. We had a conversation. Total gem. She's wonderful. She's in her 60s, needed something, wanted something. And she messaged me yesterday because her daughter lives up in Salmon. And she's like, I went to her gym to go do a workout with her, and she's been wanting to do that. So it was really cool now that she went to her daughter's gym, was able to do a workout. And she's like, I did a 12-inch box jump. I did 9 of them.
Wow.
A lot of them,
And like when she started like a month ago, a box jump terrified her.
Right.
Yeah.
And like just to see and to get those kind of messages, that just like warms the heart. Like when you see that
Makes
progress.
it totally worthwhile.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
And the cool thing I think also is you get to see all of that happen every day in maybe even the same class. Right. So you have 1 hour of the day and you're going to have this person who is like solely focused on, I'm trying to get into a CrossFit competition and I'm trying to do these things at a super high level, to the people who are like, I'm trying to stay in shape because mountain bike season's coming, to the people who are like, I'm just walking in the door and I don't even know what this thing is. I'm scared to do a box jump, right? To jump on top of something. And all of that happens at the same time.
Yeah.
And that I think is like some of the beauty and the cool part, is because you get to bring all of these people together that are not only at different places in their fitness journey, but they're
Different
at
worlds, different lifestyles
Exactly.
colliding in one place, right?
Yeah.
And just-
So we have entrepreneurs, we have people who are high level career people, and then there's people who are stay at home moms or retired, and they all show up in the same place. And so it's
With the same mindset to do a little better today.
yes, exactly. And so I think some of that stuff is really the cool part about what we do, and a little bit of a difference from some of the other, fitness options are, is that how often do you know what other people's careers and lives are when you're in a traditional gym environment? It's people literally go in there, put the headphones on, go in the corner, do their thing, and walk out, and probably don't talk to another person. But
Especially
AmRock,
these days.
Yeah.
Oh,
Especially this
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially noise canceling headphones.
Yeah,
Man, they just
yeah.
shut out the
Everybody's-
world, right?
Yeah.
But at AmRock and places like we have, it's you come in and you're actually working out next to somebody, and it's that shared experience.
Shared
Pretty soon you
suffering.
guys are chatting.
Yeah.
That's the shared suffering, right?
And it's not that we're talking the whole time, but
No.
it's like as you finish, or if you finish first and somebody's still doing, the first thing you turn around and do is like, let's
got
go.
this.
You got 5 more. Let's go. Right. Or vice versa. If you're falling behind and you're dying and there's somebody, everybody just kind of gathers around. It's like,
Yeah.
all right, let's go. Let's finish it up. And
And then
it's a beautiful thing.
then when you're done and you're just kind of like there catching your breath and stuff, I mean, it automatically opens the door to some of those other conversations of like, hey, who's your family? What's going on? What do you do for work? All of those things just naturally start happening. That is very different because we're all in this thing together, and we all get to rub elbows and hang out. And I think it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I think because everybody's in a humbling place too.
Yeah,
I
that's-
think that makes a difference when you're done with a workout. Everybody's just like,
Oh my gosh.
okay,
that's hard.
is everybody else dying as much as I am? So we're back from bathroom breaks. I want to touch on kind of mix it up, the next 2 subjects.
Okay.
We were talking about why people do CrossFit because they have other activities or hobbies that they do. You guys have some that you guys are pretty passionate about, right?
Yeah.
You guys do Spartan races and adventure races. Tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll go into the next thing. But
Okay. I think so maybe a little backstory. We both were cross country track athletes in high school. That's kind of how we met.
Yeah. Not kind of. It is.
It is how we met.
That's exactly.
But I was
how
gonna
we
say
met.
really yes at track meet, but
Yeah.
very different than how we met.
But I think like exercise and fitness has always been a part of both of our lives. And I got really big into marathon running, did a lot of marathons. Rocky
I did marathon supporting.
he did marathon supporting. He tried one half marathon, and I think,
I've run a couple. and
but
yeah,
I mean, you
they're
weren't
fun,
really
but-
into it. So
It's not his thing.
yeah, and so and the reason this is important is as we talk about like marriage and couples, what had happened for us is like I was going this way and he was going this way, and there wasn't a shared passion of fitness anymore. We had that with cross country and with track but we were kids.
Yeah, we were in high school.
Yeah. But as our marriage started, like some of that went this way. And we tried some things that we just never found that thing until we found CrossFit.
Mm-hmm.
And I really do feel CrossFit was a game changer for us personally. Yeah. And with CrossFit, I still did some running and the reason I started was to help with my marathon running because I started to see some things decline. And for me personally, I was mad about it. So I needed some strength training, which actually helped. I just didn't know it at the time. But then that evolved to Spartan and Spartan racing. And my boss at the time was like, you really need to try a Spartan race. And I was like, no.
He's like, you like CrossFit and you like to run.
You need to
This
do
is like
Spartan."
perfect. You should go do this thing.
And I was like,
"That's
no. And it was about a few months later, I was like, fine, I'll do one. So he was the one that started the whole trajectory of where we are now. But I'm glad he did because I did my first race. It was the funnest thing ever. And that was back in 2016 that I did my first race. And that was Vegas. So it would have been in March. And I loved it. He was a cheerleader that time. was like, you should do it. Nah, I'm not going to do this.
Just like everything.
Yep.
That doesn't sound fun at all. That
So-
sounds
No,
terrible.
you're gonna do it.
So then after the race, I was just like, blah, 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 blah. And you need to do this. Will you at least do one with me? Do one. Because I'm like, well, they have this thing called a trifecta. And at the time, it was like, you do your, I did a super, I'm going to do the sprint in Boise. And then I had, I think it was Breckenridge that year that was going to do the beast. So 3 races. Cool. And he's like, fine. So we signed him up for Boise, and he did Boise, and we signed him up for Breckenridge. Well, then he was like, well, I need my trifecta.
I'm not going to get left behind in this thing, right?
Wait a second.
Yeah.
So we flew all the way to Atlanta so he could get his...
In December.
In December, so he could get his trifecta.
It's a good time to get away from here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Going
Yeah,
to
it was-
Atlanta in December was pretty all right.
Yeah. And so that kind of just started, and then that evolved as we
Yeah.
and now, I mean, we still do them today. I think I've completed now 87 races.
Dang,
Wow.
that's a lot.
So
Impressive.
I'm gunning for 100 is my where I'm headed. So
Yeah, it was funny because that first year we did 3 races. And,
That's it.
And at that time, it was like we would go and do a race, and we were beat up and like destroyed after that race. You know, knees are all nicked up, scraped, everything, bruises all over, body just completely fatigued, all of that. And so doing 3 races in a year was a huge challenge. And 10 years later, we're doing 12 races in a year, sometimes 2 in one day, and all that stuff. So
3 races on a weekend.
3 races on a weekend, and like the mileage so we've been able to do has been able to increase and all that stuff. We've done a couple of ultras, which are 30-mile races with obstacles and all of that stuff thrown in. And so it's like you look at it and go, this trajectory, like we were talking about where people started and where they're at now. And where we started was, we were able to do all of those things and survive and all of that, just because of our background and because we've been doing CrossFit and everything. But what we're able to do now is completely different.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean we're not still beat up at the end of a weekend of doing Spartans and things like that, but our ability and capacity has just changed.
The progression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, it's one of those things that that is our kind of getaway. We're those people that's like, oh yeah, we're
going to go on vacation. What Spartan race can we go do? Or what? And
what
even-
crazy fitness thing can we do?
And
on
I think that's
vacation?
the other thing was we like the challenge of like adventure race. We've done a few adventure races. We've done a 24-hour, it's called Diesel Days, where it's a 24-hour working out literally for 24 hours. And it's the mental game. It's the mental challenge, but you learn a lot about yourself in those moments. And even like on the adventure race, like being able to do that with friends in the middle of night, like someone's always going to be in the dark spot at some point, but it's the others that lift you up. So usually not everyone's in the same dark spot at the same time, but it's how can you help each other out of that? And I think there's just something when you have the suck with people.
Yeah.
You
Trauma bonding.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, I think it's one of those things that I think for us, we've been really lucky with because we've been able to turn something that's a personal passion into the business that we do. We always find ways to present ourselves with growth opportunities through hardcore exercise. And so it's like whether it's Diesel Days or whether it's an adventure race, a 24-hour adventure race, or just a long Spartan weekend or an ultra or whatever it is, you can learn so much about yourself by putting your body into a state where you are forced to deal with adversity. And it prepares you for so many other things that get thrown at you in life, because if you're used to doing hard things for fun, doing hard things when life throws them at you gets a heck of a lot easier.
Yeah.
Doesn't make it any better. Doesn't mean you actually are seeking out those hard times, but your ability to weather the storm and find ways to pivot or find ways to keep a smile on your face as the world feels like it's crashing down around you. You're just better prepared for that because you are constantly exposing yourself to adversity in a workout or in some event that you're going and doing. And I think for us, that's been something that's been huge on the outside of the business is, it's not for everybody, but it's worked really well for us that we're constantly finding ways to challenge ourselves and again, just give ourselves that opportunity to grow.
And I think also setting an example to our community too of like, hey, you can still do tough things no matter your age. Like you're still able to overcome whatever life throws at you. And through that perseverance and grit and determination, you can conquer a lot. It's just working through. And I think that's where I enjoy doing those things because it just helps the mind shift and mindset for me personally.
But I think you've also met some people through those races that have come to the gym, and you've also had a lot of people that have come to the gym, and all of a sudden now they're into the races, into the adventure races and the Spartans, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Spartan's a pretty big. I'm so glad they have Boise back because
that's been
when Boise,
helpful.
before COVID, Boise left, and now that it's back, I feel like that's one that is so fun to get people together and get such a good group of people.
Traveling's easy.
Yeah.
It's just
And
the distance too of all of it. Yeah.
It's just, I've looked back at like pictures and we'd have like 30 people at Boise, and it's that kind of stuff that's fun. Like, and I think the other cool thing is within the Spartan races, you just create, again, it's community. And so it just goes back to you have this family of people and the support that you can provide and help them. Like, let's say a year ago, they couldn't do whatever obstacle and now they can. And man, is it fun to watch.
Spend a year working towards it,
Yeah.
right? They set it in their mind, okay, I couldn't do this last year. Let's work this year so by the next season, I'm going to be able to nail this.
Yeah. And there's been some of our members who have gone to different races, like we're not there, but we'll get a text and guess what happened to me today? Guess what I did today? And, I climbed the rope. I did the monkey bars. I did. And that's just like, I don't know. It's a huge motivator.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and it's that other thing too of, it's the ability to share something that we really enjoy and love with other people that we enjoy and love. And so it's, I think that's a big part of it that is very fulfilling for us, because not only do we get to share essentially what we do at AmRock every day, but now it's like, take that and go do something with it, right? It's like for you, I would hate for you to be at AmRock and it's like, oh yeah, I just come to the gym now and this is all I do. It's like, no, Carlos, when was the last time you were on your mountain bike? Like, you need to go do that stuff because that is part of the reason that you come in and do daily workouts and all that, so that when you get on the mountain, whether it's skiing or whether it's mountain biking, that is the fun time. That's the play time. And the more you're able to do in the gym, the more these other activities get to be absolutely fun because it's not as much work. If you got to get your bike up to the hill and you're not riding the lift, right? And,
which is most of the time.
right. And that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But if you're in shape, getting up to the top of the hill so that coming down is when it's like a complete blast, right? Getting up there is a heck of a lot easier. And that part starts to become a little more fun instead of I rode all the way up the hill and now I've got to take an hour break because I can't breathe and I'm so tired to do stuff. And so being able to share some of that with people and saying, hey, yes, this is important, of coming in and doing your exercise and doing all this stuff, but it's important because it makes the rest of your life so much more fun and so much easier, and you're more capable. Like that is huge, you know. And I think that's one of the things that we've really enjoyed about getting people into Spartan racing, introducing people to adventure racing and taking challenges ourselves.
And adventure racing was fun because that was the first time we ever got into mountain biking.
Yeah.
That's right.
And
Yeah. We had to have you teach us how to ride a freaking mountain bike. It's like, yeah, I've ridden a bike before, but I don't know how to do
mountain
that.
bike.
Right.
And I think that's been another thing that we've just gotten into of, hey, we enjoy this sport as well. And so now it's just opened up a lot of opportunity of other activities and things that we can enjoy.
A different door, different activity,
Yeah.
different people and community,
Yeah.
which is great.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you guys you're running the business, you're doing these fun activities, but at the end of the day, you're married. So here goes the spicy stuff. This is what I've been waiting for. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we're married and we run a business together. We do business together. And if I'm going to sit here and say that there's no challenges and we don't have arguments, be the biggest liar in the world.
Yeah.
So, I mean, share a little bit with us. What is that like? And, you know, that like the fun part about it and the tough parts about it, whatever you feel comfortable with sharing, because
Yeah. I think the fun part, I'll take the fun part. I mean, the fun part and the good part about what's, working with your spouse in a business and all of that stuff is that it does give you a lot more of a shared goal for things, right? A lot of people, I mean, we don't have kids, and a lot of people, it's like, yeah, if you have children, that's the shared thing that you guys have, and it's as long as we're doing things for the kids, that's what's keeping us fed and together and all of that stuff. I think having a business together has given us the opportunity to do that as well. And so not only is it, the stuff that is for the family, but now you're bonding through the business as well. And so I think it's given us a lot of things to talk about. It's given us things to argue about,
For sure.
and all of that. So, but it's still something that brings you together, and so I think that's been a really, really cool part of doing running a business with my spouse is that there is never a moment when we don't have something to talk about, good or bad. And that's really, really cool. And we have a shared goal. We have a shared future outlook of what we're trying to do, a shared vision of where things are going. And we can do a lot of looking at life in general through that lens of like, okay, is this good for us? Is it good for the business? Is it all those things? So decisions kind of, it doesn't, I think that it helps in making some of those decisions because is it going to move us forward? Is it going to move the business forward?
I do
That
think
sort
we
of thing.
do a very good job at, hey, if a big decision has to be made, we do a good job at having those tough conversations and ending in agreed solution. So we might have our own opinion, and sometimes we might have to have some hard.
Navigate some good conversations. It might take several conversations.
some back and
because-
forth and
Yeah.
some good,
And I mean, here's the thing: Rocky's very good at being very level-headed and being very passive about things in a good way. Like, I'm just
Yeah,
like
I know what you're saying.
you're just very
Okay, I'm not offended.
calm about things, and I
Yes.
mean this in a positive way.
Yeah.
Because I can sometimes get very wrapped up in all the details because that's where my strength is I'm very detailed and we got to get this done and we got to da 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 da. And so I think there's a good balance, but then there's the sometimes of the arguments that happen of, well, no, we have to do it this way. And he's like, well, no, we don't. And it's just, sometimes you also have to take a step away from the conversation and let things settle before you really come up with the solution, because you might need to process. Like, I'm a processor. So if we have a tough conversation and I don't agree, I just need some time to process, because I don't agree with what you're saying. And so I need that time to kind of hear out what you have said.
Yeah.
Because I want to do this, and it's not what I want to do, it's what we need to do. But I just need the time to think through what you're trying to say.
Yeah. And I think that's been one of the things that we've really set out to figure out a lot from the beginning, was who has what role in the business, right? And so it's like, okay, we're both in charge of a lot of things. However, when it comes down to it, it's like we have one of us that is going to be kind of
what are your strengths and
yes.
her strengths?
Yeah. And then on top
the
of that, it's the
decision maker.
deciding vote too. It's like, okay, there's two of us. So if we're on opposite sides,
You can't have
of
the cat
same-
decide.
Yeah. It's not it's one against one. It's like, yeah, but this is my realm that we decided when we were, cool, level-headed and all this stuff. This is how we're dividing responsibilities. And so when it comes down to making a decision, if we're on opposite sides of it, then it's whose sandbox are we playing in, and that person gets to they get to cast the deciding vote.
Okay.
And we both have to be okay with that. And so
I like
I think
that.
that's been a really, really nice way for us to
Yeah.
divide things up. Is like, no, remember, this is my area. I appreciate your input, and
I will take it in consideration.
Exactly. I'm going to take this into consideration, and we can talk about it. But when it comes down to it, of who gets to make the decision on where we're going in that particular thing, we've kind of split things to where, this is Andrea's area, and I'm going to forcefully give my input, but I know she's going to be the one that makes the decision. And vice versa. There are things that I'm making the decision on, and it's worked well for us.
Yeah. And to your point, Carlos, it's like, okay, what are our strengths? And that's where it's kind of identifying, even like with the team too, we've done this too, like what do they bring? What value, like what's unique about them?
What
And
are their
so,
talents?
yeah, what's the talent? And then kind of dividing that in that way. And so I think, and we've had to make some change. Like, it's not something, this is it and this is it forever. We've made a ton of changes over time because of how roles have changed, or time, or
the business
or
is
the
evolved,
business has evolved. And so it makes more sense for Rocky to take this now versus me, and vice versa. But we still, I think one thing we do struggle with is we are constantly talking about the business
yes.
and not letting that have a day off.
I think that's,
We struggle with that
with
too.
the same.
Yeah.
Because we can talk about work all day long.
Yeah.
But then it's like, okay, we need to talk about something else.
Yeah.
But it happens, I feel like for us, it happens with work or with the kids, right?
Yeah.
And so we're getting away and we got to do something completely different. And we're doing something completely different. And next thing you know, here comes the kids creeping in. Not the kids literally, but
Yeah.
we're talking
Yeah.
about the kids. And then,
Yep.
or we're talking about the business, because
Yeah.
it's just, you're constantly surrounded by it. And it's your life, right?
Well,
At the end
and
of the day, right?
it's very similar to what you guys go through in real estate. It's like you're getting calls, you're getting pinged, it's the same for us. Like,
Yeah.
hey, a lead comes in or a potential customer, you need to respond.
you can't ignore
Yeah.
it. No way.
Because it's
Yeah.
like the first person that responds, that's usually the person that has the business.
Absolutely.
And so you have to act. And so then it's like, hey, we're in the middle of dinner and this comes in. Oh wait, I gotta make a phone call. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and so it's
Well, we're not
hard-
the only ones.
No.
No.
Makes us
And that's
feel
a
normal.
struggle. Like,
Yeah.
that is a struggle.
And we have the added struggle too of that our hobbies
Yes.
coincide with kind of what we do in the business as well. It's like we were just saying, like, if we're gonna go on vacation, we're gonna go on vacation and do a Spartan race, which still has something to do with the business. And so it's like that, I think, is one of the biggest struggles for us, is just how do we actually step away from everything?
Right.
So you need more Mexico vacations. That's
Yes.
what I'm gathering.
Need more Mexico vacations.
Or like we
100%,
did,
or something like
do
that.
a week. This is a few years ago where we got an Airbnb up in the Sawtooth,
Oh, yeah. I remember.
and
Yeah.
cell phone service sucks up there, which was fantastic. And
That's the best.
but we did hikes and paddleboarding and mountain biking, and I think it was at night we would do a little check in with the team, but that was it. Like we
Yeah.
completely unplugged. And I think that was, I mean, those are things that we just have to remember. But I think with this past year, with everything that happened, we totally got out of sync, because we had a pretty good pattern of, hey, we're going to go up and go mountain biking, or we're going to go up and go for a hike, or go for a trail run, or go out in nature. Like nature is a big thing, because it can just
It's healing.
very
It is.
healing.
100%. So important.
Yeah.
Very.
And we were really good about going almost every
Almost
weekend.
every weekend, yeah.
And then with everything with my dad and then the move, like that all went to the wayside. And I can tell a complete difference of like me personally, of even how I react in our marriage is different, because I just feel
Yeah,
like
that's true. I'm kidding.
He's not, but not.
You need that decompression.
Yeah.
And
yeah. And it's even like when we go, it's sometimes, yes, there's some business, but sometimes it's like, let's just be quiet. Let's just literally, or talk about other things. Like, let's talk about what's going on in our friends' lives, or these, other activities that are happening in our sphere. And being really engaged with that versus always talking about the business.
yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a challenge. I can agree. And sometimes it's just nice to, for us, it's like if we're mountain biking and just be present and out there and just taking it all in.
Yeah.
And like, look at the mountain, look at that river, or,
Yeah.
you run into some deer or something,
Yeah,
and
just stop.
it's- Yeah.
Yeah.
It's much needed. Wish we had more time for that.
Sometimes that's the good part of it too, is like if you're doing something like that, a strenuous activity, or just an activity that separates you a little bit, but you're still in the same location. It forces you to spend time with yourself, but then at the end of it, or when you stop and take a break, now you're together and you can do things like go, man, this is amazing, or did you see that back there, and all
Yeah.
that stuff. So if we go out for a trail run or something, like we're not holding hands running right next to each other having a conversation the whole time. It's like you guys on a mountain bike, or when we go mountain biking, it's like I'm riding down here and she's coming down,
Yeah.
and so
You're
we're
aware of each other's presence, and you're
Yeah.
just kind of
Yes.
mindful of where, keeping an eye on each other, but then you're in your mental space and
Right.
just kind of,
Yeah.
And-
I literally can't talk about the business with her because we're in
She's
separate
great.
places on the trail.
That's great.
Right. And it's great. We're here, we're doing this activity together, we're having fun, but we are able, we finally have some time where we both get to get away from the business a little bit. And I think finding things like that has been really, really great for us, because we're still together. We're still doing an activity as a couple, but if we're doing an activity as a couple like this, we're going to talk shop.
yeah.
yeah.
And so
Well,
we've
kind
got to
of-
find those ways to not.
Going back to like earlier in the conversation where our tracks were this way, where I was doing marathon and he had golf and whatever he was doing. Now we're kind of a little more together. And,
Running parallel. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so cool to have like the same hobbies as
Yes.
as your spouse, so
Yeah.
that you can do those things. But you're,
Yeah. And I know that's not something that everyone can do.
yeah,
Yeah.
But it's finding what is a common thing that that couples can come together. And I think from a business side, the other thing that within this last few months we've been working on is, hey, we need to have a business meeting where we have a list of things that we discuss and meet. It's not a, hey, Rocky gets home from coaching, by 7:00 I'm done for the night.
Yeah.
Because sometimes he'll be coaching, he doesn't get home till 8 or 8:30. And then he's like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I'm done. Like I've clocked out. And so kind of coming up with, hey, once a week, or maybe it's twice a week, we're still kind of figuring that out.
Block a time, put it
block
on
a
the
time.
schedule. This is
Yes.
specifically for that.
And that's another thing we're trying to work
Bring
on.
it to the meeting.
We did an exercise, a time audit exercise, where for 2 weeks we wrote down everything that we did every day.
Okay.
And it
I
was
like that.
super interesting.
Probably eye-opening.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Oh, I was like, oh, I got to fix some stuff. But then it leads to like, okay, I've got a block, and then I've got to keep what's non-negotiable. And being
Non-negotiable, yeah.
non-negotiable and
Yeah.
not let other things creep in.
Totally.
I think the hard part is you are going to have last minute stuff, or a project you thought was going to take 30 minutes takes 3 hours. So then how do you pivot
Yeah.
on that? But, one thing that we're trying to evolve is how do we have that continued communication so we still feel in the loop when
Right.
it comes to the business. So one doesn't feel out of the loop, but doing it in a way that is intentional, not shooting from the hip.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that also helps us kind of set some boundaries too, between working in the business and, doing business conversations and all of that stuff, and having like personal life and all of that. Because if we know that we've got a time coming up that we're going to sit down and talk about this, sometimes it is like, hey, now isn't the time. I don't have either. I'm in the middle of something else, or I just don't have the capacity and brain power to deal with that right now. We know that, hey, tomorrow or the next day, we're going to get together, and the whole purpose of getting together is to talk about what we're doing in the business. And it's a new shift. It's a hard shift.
Yeah.
And it's something that we're just learning and trying to implement now, which is also pretty cool. Because 10 years into business, we know we still don't have it all figured out. And there's still ways that we can get better and innovate and make this, the business and the relationship better.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to be intentional of how we're doing things and set boundaries and times
Yeah.
to make things happen.
I like it.
I like it. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for spending time with us.
Yeah.
We've been doing this for a little bit, so I want to wrap it up. But can you tell us really quick if there's any projects, anything that you got coming up next, or things that you're looking forward to? Number one. Number two, what advice do you have? Anything that you can leave us with for people that are either starting the business and the process of building a business? And then lastly, of course, leave us with your information about AmRock, so that way if people want to contact you and they want to reach out and they're thinking about maybe joining or doing a trial or, just learning, where they can find you.
Okay. Do you want to talk about upcoming things and that sort of stuff? I mean, as far as like events and stuff like that coming up, we host a competition. It's called the True Challenge. That's in April. So if people are looking to take on a CrossFit challenge or something like that, that's coming up very soon. Registration's open. You just go to True Challenge, Google that, and it'll pop up, and you can sign up for that competition. But it's at the gym. We have all of our Spartan race schedule, all of that stuff we're doing. We're going to Montana here very soon. In
Utah, Boise.
Yeah, Montana, Utah, Boise. Those are the 3 that we have left on the schedule. So if anybody's interested in joining us for a Spartan race, reach out to us.
And
You're
I think
welcome to
just
do that.
even like continuing to build our health home.
Yeah.
Like essentially there's more evolving with that. There's also, how do we, I would say, continue to build AmRock. We have a long-term plan and working towards that long-term plan, and just creating some of those partnerships. So events, yes. And then there's also kind of this thing of, hey, how are we building AmRock and continuing to be creative and not be siloed? Like it's always looking outside of the sandbox or this box. And when you own a business, you can kind of create your own thing. That's the beauty of entrepreneurship, is that you can create something that's your own and getting creative
Nice.
with that.
And so as far as like what that looks like in the future and what we're doing now and we have available is, yes, we do fitness, so CrossFit. We do nutrition coaching through AmRock Nourish. We have a healthcare option to help people pay for healthcare costs that we can offer to our members through the CrossFit Medical Society and community care. We have partnerships that go out into the community through Mountain View Hospital with Wellberry Health and, meal prep options like Fresh Prep and Project Lean Nation. So we have all of these things that are available to us that then we can turn around and partner and say, hey, our members, you can benefit from this, and really creating things that through AmRock you have pretty much access to everything you would need to take care of your health.
Yeah.
Just by showing up and being part of what we do at AmRock.
I think the last thing to that question as well is that we're working on some things to incorporate into employer
Employee
and
wellness.
employee wellness.
Okay.
And how do we outreach to employers and organizations that need help with fitness, nutrition, maybe healthcare, depending on what that looks like for their employees. So we can kind of create more productivity and helping the employer have productive employees and a happy employee. So we're working through some things there in this next year of, how do we expand on that opportunity as well.
Awesome.
So those, I think, are the things that are coming and the things that are available now as far as like what AmRock is and what we can offer people.
And then I think from
next
the
step.
business.
I'm gonna throw something in there.
Yeah.
They have
Yeah.
office space available for
Oh, yeah.
people
Oh,
that
yes.
are
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
into physical therapy, massage, anything that it's correlated to
Yep.
a gym. So
Any-
reach
Yeah,
out to
or-
Rocky and Andrea. They have 3 spaces, so keep
Yeah.
that in mind.
Yeah.
And what about some advice for
I
people
think-
that are looking to build business or in the middle of it, in
Yeah.
the trenches, going through stuff?
I think there's a couple of things I would offer. One, sit down and really evaluate your network of friends, family, and asking them if they know anyone in certain industries. Like if you're struggling with something or need help or support, really looking internally at like, who can I reach out to? Who can I rely on? Who can I reach out and say, hey, I need some help with XYZ. Do you know anyone? Like sometimes just asking that, you'll find those things. And I think also just remembering why you are doing what you're doing and starting your day with almost like a gratitude statement of, I'm grateful for this because. We tend to get wrapped up in all the like little negative or opposition versus, hey, this is something that went really well for my business today. Sometimes just making that mind shift change can actually change how you think about your business. So that would be a couple of my pieces of advice.
Yeah. I think for me, one of the things that I would tell people is remember what your business is. Like, what do you actually do? And, like, remember that that is the thing. You need to be able to deliver that at a high level. And a lot of times, especially as an entrepreneur and as business owners and all that stuff, the shiny thing will come along and you'll go, oh, these guys are doing that, so now I need to add that into my business. And, we talked early on about going in and gleaning things from other businesses. But if you're doing that at the expense of your core product, you're going to struggle. So, like, really remember what your core product is, and you have to deliver on that first. And then you can start to bring in some of the other things. But you can't ever forget what that core product is. And so, we look at it and go, I never looked at adding nutrition coaching as something else, because our core product is getting people as fit and healthy as you possibly can. So that didn't detract from the business. But if I was going to bring in, hey, I'm going to start selling coffee and I'm going to run a coffee shop out of AmRock. Okay, that's a really cool thing and a cool idea, but I have to be able to get people fit. And does running a coffee shop inside of my CrossFit facility,
nice
does
to
it
just-
move things forward? Look, I love coffee. Like I'm all about that,
Yeah.
and doing that, it's a great idea. And there are, CrossFit facilities across the world that have like full restaurants and things like that in there, because people come and they spend 3 or 4 hours there, and they work out, they shower, they do the sauna, they have dinner, all of that stuff. Like there's one in France that's that way. And I just look at that and go, yeah, but it's because they do CrossFit really, really well that these other things work. And so we have office space for rent, and it's like, I could run something out of those myself.
Yeah.
We've talked
But-
about that.
But how does that benefit the people that are coming to
Exactly.
Correct.
Yeah.
If
But
my,
then it's a
if my-
distraction.
if my attention is divided, which
Yeah.
is exactly what I was just going to say, if my attention is now divided between I'm running this other thing and I'm trying to do CrossFit, am I doing either of them well? And so that's kind of the whole idea is, we want to partner with people that do their thing very well. And we want to help them be part of what we do, because they run their business at a high level and we run our business at a high level, and we can work together to make that happen.
Yeah.
And so, as far as advice goes, it's like, don't forget what you do and
like
do
that.
that thing at such a high level that you're the best in your business. And I think that
like it.
serves people really, really well.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Where can people find you?
Oh, we have
You know?
our website,
Yeah.
so www.crossfitamrock.com. You can also shoot us an email at contact@crossfitamrock.com. You can also call us, 208-751-8705. We also have an Instagram, Facebook.
CrossFit AmRock is
Just look you up
Yeah,
on social
just look-
media.
yeah.
it's up on social media.
Okay.
Those are probably the main.
We're located at 2135 Grizzly Ave, so you can come and
Drop
find
by.
us there if you want to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, we have certain, business hours, not like a typical gym that's going to be open. So definitely reach out
Yeah.
if it's outside of our class times where it is a group style fitness. So sometimes we may not be there between 1 and 3. Doesn't mean we can't be, but that's really more of like by appointment only.
Okay.
So definitely reach out, and we'd be happy to chat to anyone, even if you had business questions about something.
Yeah. By all means.
I think that's the thing is we had a lot of people help us, and we'd like to pay that forward to other people that are trying to start a business as well.
Awesome. I love it. Well, thanks again, guys.
Yeah,
Really
thank you.
appreciate it. This has been a
Appreciate
lot
it.
of fun.
Yeah.
It's always fun to sit down to chat.
Sweet. Thanks, guys. That's a wrap.